continue the teaching on this, the quality of the ground. The second is we call self-arising. These 5 qualities of the ground is very similar, but a little bit also different. So this self-arising, this quality means it means nobody created the nature of mind. If, for example, it had been created by someone or by something, then that would mean that it had sort of cause and conditions, right? So then it depends on cause and conditions. If something depends on cause and conditions, then it will change naturally. And that means it becomes impermanent, right? And something is impermanent, then it will cause of suffering. So that's why in this, in Tibet we saw the Ramjong. Ramjong means like, Rang means self, Shong means arising, self-arising. Nobody created. Self-arising, that's the second quality. So this, first you understand, it's an uncompounded. I don't know this common word, English, uncompounded. You understand if I use that? Okay. Ndimashi in Tibet, Gunjijin and Ndimashi, uncompounded. So the problem is we can see the relative point of view, everything, also Buddhism, they believe that everything depends on cause and conditions, right? Relatively. So that means all the time, changing, moment by moment, everything is changing because it depends on cause and conditions. So then we call it impermanence. There is a nothing permanent, impermanence. So that causes suffering. So therefore, this Ramjong Rigpa means self-arising awareness. In Tibet, Ramjong Rigpa, which means self-arising wisdom or awareness. It's never increase or never decrease. Because without cause and condition, beyond, you have to know that. The Heart Sutra says, no ignorance and no end of ignorance. We always recite that, right? No ignorance. For example, the relative point of view, the ignorance arises from the view of self. But the conception of self, it doesn't exist. So therefore, it is beyond ignorance. It is beyond cause and conditions. Samantabhadra will tell us, but for example, when everything is destroyed by fire, for example, the sky will remain as it is. Similarly, the self-arising wisdom or the energy of awareness will never diminish under any circumstances, under any conditions. Therefore, for example, if we recognize this self-arising, and if we are able to maintain the nature of mind, then even if our universe is destroyed or fallen apart, we will not get panic or be terrified or suffer. And we are able to remain in this nature of mind, self-arising. It doesn't matter if we surrounded by sort of pleasurable object of five senses, we will not become attached or grasp. We accept everything, whether it is positive or negative, because we are no longer sort of experiencing of any duality, right? Sort of existing. Recognize the true nature is really free from cause and conditions. So that's why self-arising. Understand? If something, that means like nobody created, or that's why it's a self-arising awareness or wisdom. That's because of Buddha nature. That's basic nature. So second quality is our nature mind is self-arising. That's why sometimes the Dzogchen teachings say spontaneously arising, lundap. And then third quality is infinite, vastness. So which means openness, spacious openness. Because we call it spacious and infinite, right? Because we can never find the age of Rigpa or the self-arising. We'll never find anything because it is infinite. It has no characteristics. It is beyond science and beyond forms, you know. But we might think that if it is infinite, empty, and without sort of characteristics, then how do these all phenomena appear? So this sort of question is actually based on relative truth. And answer for that is all these appearance, you know, they exist interdependently, which means it is due to cause and conditions of our conceptions. All are just concepts in our mind, and everything appears. That's why this is not true nature. But so important, Buddha said, understand the relative truth. When you really understand the relative truth, whenever you see something, automatically in your mind, like comes your mind, oh, interdependent origination. Oh, this is cause and condition. Because I see this, I hear this, cause and condition, which means nothing permanent and exists. And that's we call it is kind of pure view, also pure view of the relative truth. That's the method also to understand the ultimate, this ground. In order to understand the true nature, you have to understand interdependent origination, which is about the relative truth. This interdependent origination, the nature of this is the ground. One ground, this primordial great emptiness. So that's why I think very important to understand the teachings of Buddha. It really tells us the truth. Why this uncompounded? Why without cause and conditions? Nobody make these things happen. Nobody, we have to say this, otherwise we have this problem. That's not the case. Buddha said, whether it's true, whether it's not, it's just the nature. Nature is like this great 5 qualities. That's our Buddha nature, whether you believe or you not. Buddha said, if you don't believe, we're not talking about somebody else's mind. We're talking about our mind. If you don't believe, you should check your mind. Is this true or not? You can investigate your mind. If you can't find, or if you exactly what this you find these qualities, then it's true, which means the nature. Then you cannot ask why it's nature like this. It's nature, because that then we experience it's a true nature. We have to rely on that. So then and then third quality is we have second quality. Fourth quality, right? We have third quality. First quality is uncompound. Second quality is self-arising. Vast, infinite, yep. And then fourth, yes, indescribable. I think I like that. Inexpressible, speechless. Because in order to, this is we call it indescribable, because in order to explain about something, we need to use the words, right? Sherab Sangpo. What does that mean? We don't know. According to this, I have a great name. Sherab means wisdom. Sangpo is Kuntuzangpo, the same words we have. So excellent. But that's just a name, right? You can say I'm a Buddha. That's just a name. It's not necessarily I'm a Buddha, really. So, so that's why, this indescribable, inexpressible, because we can't use, the words we explain, in order to explain, we have to use the words. And the words are actually a limitation made by dualistic conceptual thought. So since we're talking about something that beyond duality, there is nothing to explain. And we can't. So that's why the Buddha nature, the self-arising, is indescribable. But then why we saying this? Because, in order to understand this Buddha nature, true nature mind, we try to sort of explain, right, about, that's the kind of, explain and give you the characteristic definitions, then maybe we understand a little bit. So then we know how to practice, right? We know how to practice. But the real sort of basic nature is free from, they call it, according to the Madhyamaka, the middle way, they call it 8 limiting conceptions. Free from the 8 limiting conceptions. You know that? Which are we have. We every day, all the time, we recite the Nagarjuna's. The Nagarjuna is very famous Buddha's student. And his commentary, the root of knowledge of the middle way, he says that which arises interdependently, does not cease, does not arise. It is not nothing and not eternal. It does not come. It does not go. It is not different and not the same. We know that, right? So that's we call free from it limiting conception. That's actually the Mahayana, the middle way's view, but it's actually explained the Buddha nature. They say they use this free from 8 limitation thoughts for emptiness. But the same thing, So absolute true nature is beyond every sort of, conceptual extreme and limitation. So this is true meaning of our nature and the primordial great emptiness. So therefore, the Nagarjuna, the Buddha, wants us to understand this point. If you don't understand this, then it doesn't make sense, right? It's not nothing, not eternal, does not come, does not what that means. That's why I think it's very important to understand Buddha's teaching. Otherwise, no nose, no eyes, no tongues, no body, no mind. What that means, we have no idea. But if you understand the ground nature, Buddha nature, everything is beyond everything, indescribable. But we call it speechless speech because try to explain, point out the nature mind, And then we have the fifth quality is without the names of samsara and nirvana. Makes sense because it's inexpressible. The name, this means that Korndi iki mangmeto in Tibet. Korndi means Korwa means samsara. Nirvana is Nibbana. Nyangdi means nirvana in Tibet. Mangmeto is no name because of free from cause and condition. Samsara and nirvana is interdependent each other actually. If there is no samsara, there is no nirvana. There is no nirvana, no samsara, right? Relative point of view. So as you know, samsara is the result of wrong sort of point of view and always sort of changing and cause us not to recognize this true nature of our mind. Remember, knowing and not knowing. So not knowing is samsara. Nirvana is opposite of that, It's just another sort of creation of the duality mind. Nirvana, the me, the name, So in basic nature, even the name, samsara and nirvana, do not exist. So the basic nature of samsara and nirvana is primordial great emptiness, or the one nature. So therefore, the basic nature is free of samsara and nirvana. Buddha said that, if you attach to nirvana, that is samsara. Yeah, so we should look into our own mind. Why? Once you understand these qualities, then you should look into your own mind. Is this true or not? I think we are very rich outerwardly, sort of, inside we are very poor. The great masters say that, oh, you guys very rich, but outside. I'm very rich inside because I have these qualities. Not only I have, we all have, but knowing what is the difference between me and my teacher, knowing and not knowing. So they are very rich and attain, they understand, they recognize these qualities. These qualities we really actually cannot explain, right? It's just I can only say it's amazing. It has a great love. It has a great compassion. It understands everything. Do you see in Hatsta we say the Shariputra and Avalokiteshvaraya discussing about emptiness, the nature of all phenomena, and the Buddha was there and he observing, right, his meditation. He meditated, and Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara just kind of debate and ask and question what is emptiness, what is. We see when we recite the Hatsta. At the end, everything they're done. At the end, the Buddha arose his what do you call it? The samadhi absorption, yeah, meditate concentration. Or they said, "Oh, what do you say? Son or a good son of noble family." No, good son. Yeah, he understand exactly what they. Even though he never lose his nature mind. Meditate and they're talking, but at the end he said, yes, this is the true nature. So that's the point, right? You go to, if you recognize and you are very stable with your meditation, you go to work, everything you mixed, you can do both at the same time. Never lose your awareness, because this always 24 hours within us, this ground. If you know the ground. So therefore, I think it's important just to look into your mind, whether this is true or not. Because it's so important. The Buddha's talking about this, not something else, just for all of us, the nature mind, nothing else. So we have to really consider sort of whether this is true or not. Try to bring sort of clear and understanding into your mind, your heart, your and then relax on it. When you understand the reality, then everything is really arises spontaneously. Spontaneously, that's the looking for. Actually, that's the word. Spontaneously, everything, effortlessly. So then, resting on it and develop it more and more. It's very easy and profound. You don't have to stop anything. You don't have to edit anything. You just relax on it, and then you have to meditate on that more and more. Then you can clearly be aware of this openness all the time, and we call it self-arising awareness or self-arising wisdom. So there is no Buddha other than this. This means that we can find a perfect Buddha in our own mind because it is free from all sort of, what do you call it, mental elaborations, which means that is beyond all of this. For example, when we are sitting in meditation and watching sort of the mind, all of a sudden sort of our mind sort of settle into a different sort of space and openness. And we feel a deeper sort of kind of calm and peace, and then we are not really struggling with our discursive thoughts. We begin sort of just to rest and very calm and kind and love and sort of compassion of sort of, effortlessly. And we may not experience the true nature of mind yet, but it's sort of inside experience. You can see that when you meditate and just to relax, and suddenly you can see this sort of peacefulness and everything, the qualities. Like even though you meditate short period of time, you can see you are not there yet, but you can also sort of, oh yeah, there is a something, far away, long distance, you can see like smoke. And then that shows, oh, there is a fire maybe. Something like that. When you meditate and your mind is really calm and peace, that's not completely nature, this ground. But you see something is there that I need to find exactly. That's we have all experienced that, right? If you meditate. Doesn't matter you're beginner or advanced, doesn't matter. You can see that calmness, that peacefulness, that openness. You can see that. You experience that. That's really good sign that there is a something. Really, you can search more deeper, So you will see the benefit of sort of the insight meditation. Even sort of, this is we call preliminary process. First you meditate shamatha. Do you see the peacefulness, the calm, no thoughts? That's preliminary process. Even that level you can see the benefit of inside meditation. But the nature completely recognize the true nature is much more than that. So when you recognize the sort of the non-conceptual awareness, it is completely free of these emotions, completely. So if we continually work with this kind of nature, then every one of us can reach enlightenment. Eventually, then you have all of these qualities will arise. So these 5 qualities, you should memorize these 5 qualities. Kunjishin dimashi ramshong loyang jottamit kordi niki mametos. That's 5 qualities of the ground nature. So these 5 qualities of true nature don't apply to the duality mind, because the dualistic mind is very limited, right? So it's sort of certainly not uncompounded or beyond cause and conditions. For example, we create all these sort of labels and named and, depends on their opposite, right? We see that. I mean, even like relative point of view, like, these all things like good, bad, small, big, clean, duty, hope, fear, all of this, right and wrong. We created this. It's nothing exists there. Is that true? If there are no right, then there's no left. There just depends. We created, all these are sort of creation of dualistic mind. I mean, it's necessary, very much necessary relative, point of view. But it shows that there is a nothing exists. So these 5 qualities are all about our own mind's nature. So when we practice like this, we will really, there is no doubt, reach enlightenment. But in order to realize this true nature, we also need really sort of, this preliminary meditations in process. We can't jump there because this true nature, in order to recognize true nature, they call it from the blessings of the lineage and from the clear understanding the teachings and respect the teachings and believe on your Buddha nature. Then it's possible. After Buddha Shakyamuni reached enlightenment under Bodhi tree, Bodh Gaya in India, his first words were, "I realized the profound nature of peaceful, clear luminosity, uncompounded, and free from complexity. I have achieved that nectar-like sort of realization. But it's difficult to understand all beings that who under ignorance." That's first he said, under he reached enlightenment. Sabjit upter wasren dimashi, that's the vichujik dakin it. Sab means profound. She means like peaceful. Tupter means without causing conditions, elaboration, uncompounded. Dakin it, I realized that. But it's difficult to teach people who don't have the good foundations. That's his first words were when he reached enlightenment. Therefore, when you practice, you should not look outside searching for something you think you have to get, So when we relax in this nature, everything, there's sort of, the worries and fabrications, dualities, and sadness, loneliness, all this will, dissolve into the original state of emptiness, which is the nature. These make us very uncomfortable, right? Hope, worry, fear, sadness, loneliness, all of these emotions dissolve into the ground. Right? When you meditate, these are thoughts, these are emotions, these are feelings. When you really have deep meditation, no longer there. They are dissolved into this peaceful meditation, So you sort of relax more and, great joy, happiness arise. That's, how these Dzogchen yogis should meditate. According to the Dzogchen tradition, this meditation has nothing to do with the dualistic mind, and we just have to merge into this state and just be there in a nature way. So that's all. Now, okay, go move to next the Tenyid Rigna Sanji te Marik Simchin Korancha. Now we understand what is the ground, right? 5 qualities. If it is known, Buddhahood is attained. We have that Buddhahood or the liberation, same, right? Enlightenment. If it is not known, beings wander in samsara. Tenyit rigna sanjiti marik semchin kor. Korwa, semchin means all beings, ordinary people, wanders in samsara, because we, tenyit rigna means marik, not knowing this ground, nature. Then we wander in samsara. That's why Samantabhadra prays, may all beings of the 3 realms realize the nature of this inexpressible ground. That's intention. So these lines explain the sort of importance of understanding and practicing this nature as just we described. And if we recognize it, we will become a Buddha. That's their saying. We will become a Buddha. If we don't recognize it, we will be deluded beings. And we will wander in 3 realms. Whether we like it or not, we have no choice. No choice. If we don't recognize it, we will wander in samsara. If we don't recognize that true nature, we are like a piece of wood floating in the ocean. The wood has no sort of, which creates in the ocean by the wind, and then, all different directions, right? Because, the piece of wood has no power to stay one place because of the wind. Wind sort of flow, so many different directions, different places like that. We don't recognize, then we will wander in samsara, 3 realms, different animals, different human beings. We have no choice. We, because of the ignorance, not knowing. Which means then we create all these problems under the ignorance, jealous, attachment, anger, all this we call the negative emotions control us. Then we have up and down suffering, all of that. That's we call it samsara, which means we don't recognize and we're still under the ignorance. There is a beautiful moon above the clouds, but doesn't matter if there are lots of clouds, we can't see the moon. So we have these negative emotions, then we can't see the true nature because of emotions, then we are suffering. We have no choice. We just don't understand the true way. If someone asks you, where will you go when you die? We have no answer. That is ignorance. That is not knowing the true nature. These great masters, they tell us before they die. Will happen this and that when I die. Or maybe they will also exactly the used to, they tell us very clearly, my parents' name this and that, my place this and that, it's very clear. But we don't know. If you ask me, like, when you die, where you go, I don't know. Which means the ignorance sort of blocked our wisdom nature. So we are making this aspiration that, very important, right? So to visualize, the Samantabhadra says that, visualize yourself as a Samantabhadra. And sort of maintain your mind in the nature of Rigpa, nature of mind, and then give sort of love and compassion to every living beings, and wish that all beings of three realms hear your prayer and recognize the true nature of their mind. That's your motivation. Then you chant. Recite the prayer. First, you do that in order to recite this prayer. Understand? Then you Rigna, not knowing, wandering samsara. Easy, right? If you recognize this, liberate right away. And then next we have I, Samantabhadra, naturally recognize from the very beginning the nature of the ground is free from cause and conditions. That is this spontaneously arising self-awareness. It is without the defects of misinterpretation or denying the outer and inner. It is not obscured by the darkness of mindlessness. Thus, self-appearance is unobscured. So when we don't have realization of the true nature itself, we grasp, we cling to sort of its display. That is how this duality of samsara and nirvana continues. This line, the prayer says that, misinterpretation with it is, yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's still okay. Now how can we understand? Now we understand the ground, this nature, but the question is how we can understand this nature. In this section, this prayer explains about sort of another 5 qualities of the true nature. The first, it is free from cause and conditions, because usually the cause and conditions develop the compounded things, right? And if we think this world, this universe, has a cause and conditions. In Buddhism, that level of knowledge is known as relative truth, right? Relative truth is cause and conditions. But if we now here says, if we look deeper into the relative truth, then we understand to the place where there are no cause and conditions. It is known as the great emptiness state, or ultimate truth. So the deep nature of every object, external and internal, is uncompounded. The basic nature of self-appearance is free from obscurations. of the conceptual mind of the duality. We call it infinite, great emptiness. So this line, this prayer explains that. So these sort of appearances are self sort of manifestations. They manifest from the basic ground of nature. Buddha said, if, Buddha came to this world and he teaches about this ground nature, or Buddha didn't come and didn't teach, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The truth, natures, qualities would not have been lost. The nature of the ground always remains as it is. So that's this Samantabhadra explained that. It shows that never cease, no increase, no decline. So that's there. Just maybe people say, oh, Buddha came to this, and then he taught, and that's why we understand. Yeah, that's true, but the ground nature, it doesn't matter Buddha came or not. It remains as it is. And then second, in these prayers, it's spontaneously arising awareness. The basic nature of the great emptiness mind is full of qualities. Because the nature of energy, sort of aspiring in love, compassion, kindness, joy, all of that, wisdom. But our sort of grasping and clinging has the result of reducing those wisdom, those qualities. So again, you remember the Dzogchen sort of terminology uses this spontaneously arising, which means, it's not sort of accumulate from different sort of directions by putting many sort of pieces together. It's just, it's spontaneously and without effort. That's kind of saying in this prayer. And then third, the ground is without defects. The spontaneous sort of energy of original nature arises as thoughts and conceptions. We put sort of labels on them and then grasp, right, at what we have sort of labeled. And then we attach to those that we like and sort of pushing away those to which we have aversions. So that's kind of how these emotions come from. That is what is known as sort of, denial. Because we are sort of creating something which doesn't exist. When we are resting in our nature, we just let sort of mental emotions come, and then we sort of grasp and we cling them. We are no longer on true nature. It's like clouds, thick clouds covered the moon. That is sort of labeling, right? We labeling and exaggeration. So Samantabhadra says, I never exaggerate self-arising energy. I maintain nature as it is. So there is no need to sort of grasp and cling or, exaggerate. All arise spontaneously as it is and liberated as it is. And then the fourth, it is not obscured by mindlessness. This is talking about our ignorance. Ignorance is like darkness because it sort of obscures or blocks our awareness, our wisdom. So there are so many things and so important things we really don't know because of our ignorance. So therefore, Samantabhadra say that, I am never obscured by the darkness of mindlessness. Because he doesn't have ignorance. He is fully awake to the sort of original nature of the mind, nature of the ground. That's saying in very briefly, and this explains. And then fifth, the prayer says, therefore, self-appearance is not obscured. Because it is not obscured by the ignorance. Therefore, the nature of mind is really pure, which is the sort of, the subject, right? If the subject is pure, then the object are also pure and free from ignorance. So when we talk about the nature of Samantabhadra, actually it is our own mind's original nature. So that's kind of very important to understand when we explain this prayer, and by sort of, when we say this Samantabhadra, we think you have a picture that his kind of union and with his consort, then we automatically think, oh, Samantabhadra is out there, outside of my mind. But in this sort of the ground or the nature we use Samantabhadra is actually, we're talking about our nature mind, which is, remember, excellent. All are excellent. The foundation, the path, the fruit, the result, excellent. That is Samantabhadra. That is the nature of our mind, right? If you understand the foundation, the base, the ground, your mind, and then not just understand, you have to follow that path, which is sort of belong to the ground, which is beyond cause and conditions. And then you learn, you study, you meditate, and then the result is the Buddhahood. So the result is excellent. So therefore, actually, we're talking about our minds, not something else. Okay? Yeah? 10:32. All right. Now, a little bit meditate on that. I think we should meditate same as the first section. Or the first one. You have to, the visualize Samantabhadra. In this case, the Samantabhadra is the lineage of the pure Modir Buddha. You can visualize with consort or without consort, whatever you like. Or your sort of spiritual beings, whoever you believe, you can visualize that in front of you, which is really nothing different than Samantabhadra. All are same. So we visualize that because we need sort of refuge. We need protection. We need blessings. And also it reminds you it's your true nature. And then sometimes it's very nice. You visualize also sort of the lights, different color or one color, raises from the Samantabhadra, whatever you visualize in front of you, and then dissolve into your heart. At the same time, you are there. And open your heart. Recognize the essence of that nature, which is self-arising, which is luminous, which is uncompounded. It is not outside ourselves. It's innate nature, which we all possess, this Buddha nature. So this basic ground is no other than our own minds. So then you just relax and, in that state and without sort of investigation or discursive attitudes. And then just to enjoy it. When you meditate like this, the masters, they don't let you investigate at this point. It's another sort of concepts, thoughts. If you invest something, you are not there. You have to just relax on it. So you can really look directly at this experience and this sort of, essence. Then you just relax on it and enjoy it. That's all. Okay? Okay, we have 10 minutes.